We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We're deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. Okay, that sound, you know what it is. We're back on the air with the restaurant brokers, Eric and Robin Gagnon, and today we have been talking about extreme cuisine. Hey, Eric, I think restaurant reality, just in and of itself, the restaurant business is extreme. You've got to have a little bit of counterculture to you to go after this crazy business that, you know, burns you out and takes your heart and requires your passion and all those other things, and yet we all keep coming back to it. What do you think?
Absolutely. Whether you're front of the house or back of the house, it is extreme. It is an extreme business, and you come back for more. I mean, how many people try this and don't like it? So, I mean, the business itself is extreme. People think about extreme cuisine today, probably thought we're just going to talk about cooking some monkey brains and whatever else you could think of, and exotic stuff, and that may be one form of it, but that's a little part. I mean, the extreme part of this business, it's day in, day out, and that's what people like. If you're a Taipei, high pressure, I mean, and Kristi said today, from West Shore Cafe, I mean, when 7:30 hits and I'm starting to get some plates out, my energy keeps going. I mean, this is what makes people thrive. If you're not that kind of person, that's going to be very challenging for you to be successful in the industry.
I think that's true, and I think that, I had a career in the retail business, and we always said we were judged on, like, yesterday's sales, and, that was, like, every single day. It's a little bit different from manufacturing, like, it's up to the minute, yesterday's sales. That's nothing. Like, these guys, they're judged on that last plate, that last minute of their life, that last 2 minutes that it, sat under the warmer for too long, or it came out of the sauté dish too early. I mean, it really is an extreme environment, and I think it takes a very special kind of person with an unbelievable amount of passion. And the other thing that I heard today in the show that struck me as we were discussing extreme is just the imagination that these folks bring to the business. I'm so excited. I mean, I'm talking to Mark, and he's telling us about going and getting the eggs from underneath the chicken and the chicken coops in the morning, and going and getting the fresh asparagus. I mean, what kind of imagination does it take to sit down and say, hey, I'm going to do a different kind of restaurant? I'm not doing, 100 covers a night, 300 covers a day, or whatever. I'm doing a table where I prepare everything farm to fork, right in front of my guests, right then. They're looking me in the eye, and as I put that plate down, I mean to tell you, that takes courage.
It does. And I mean, when you talk about being extreme, to me, what's resonant today is, like Kristi said, to be extremely adaptable. I mean, Kristi is cooking a wedding on top of a mountain, so it's not like they forget a couple of pieces of silverware. They run down into the kitchen here, next to the catering hall, or, next to the patio, and you can run back. In the meantime, she's doing a wedding for a few hundred people on top of the mountain. There's a large picnic area by the lake. Then she has a restaurant, and then she has catering businesses. So, people ask all the time, I need more sales, I need to do this. And you say, well, I'm going to do catering, I'm going to do my restaurant, I'm going to do a food truck, I'm going to do a lot of things. But if you're not able to adapt, it's going to be a challenge. So you have to be able to be extremely adaptable to be successful and prepare for the worst. It wasn't the story she said, I was doing a wedding in Napa Valley, and the oven never showed up.
Right.
She had to cook 200 fillets. I mean, I'm sorry.
And I'm telling you, that's somebody you never, ever, ever want to tick off is the bride.
There you go. So,
they don't call him Bridezilla for nothing.
Exactly. So you have to adapt. I mean, this is what it is. And you start talking about food. People have to trust you. I mean, how many of you maybe have some tartares on your menu or different things, which are a lot of raw meats or sushis? If you have an Asian restaurant or some sushi, people don't trust you. They will not eat your raw fish at your restaurant. So you have to build that trust if you're going to go with the extreme on your menu or start introducing things. Mark said it well. It's people get to know me. They get to know me. They come out and they give me full trust. They just come, sit down, and trust that I will give them something that they will enjoy. And that takes time, and that takes a lot of preparation to get that trust from your customers and guests.
It's right. And even though we have evolved as a country and we have really stretched our palates to the limits, and part of that has been fueled by the media and by TV shows and radio shows and different things like that, I think it is true that food has become more fashionable than ever, and they talk about food is like the fashion industry, and one day you're in, one day you're out. There are things that kind of rise to the occasion. How do you as a restaurateur or would-be restaurateur, how do you react to that? How do you integrate the extreme without going overboard and losing that customer base that you have? I mean, there's always that yin and the yang. I mean, Mark said he's a Gemini, so he's always two faces of everything. I think every restaurateur has to be like that. They have to somehow absorb the newness and what's happening and what's fashion forward and what's kind of going on in the industry, but not throw out the classics and not tick off those loyal customers at the same time. And it really is a balancing act. You've got to be an adrenaline junkie because you never know which step you're taking, whether it's going to work for you or not in your restaurant.
I'm glad you brought the fashion industry because I know this is your old stomping grounds. I was very afraid because I had that in my note as well, and you mentioned it, right? I mean, there's 4 seasons. When you go buy clothes, there's your classics, your khakis. If you're a man, navy blue pants, black pants, that never go out of style. But every season, there's 4 seasons in the year, and there's 4 different, type of fashion that's going to come out. So maybe take some notes. Maybe your menu should have that component. You have your classics, your main sellers, but then, every season you may throw some new dishes. And one of the things that I really like is, again, like I said, my old clothes, are now back on the rack. Unfortunately, I got rid of them, to the Salvation Army years ago. But now I can buy them for twice the price. But that's okay. But
thanks to your wife.
That's good. Thanks to my wife. But you keep your old recipes. Build a library. Because, eventually some of these may be used with a different twist in it. So you start building. If you're the restaurant owner and you're listening to this today, I know you may have different chefs coming, but maybe have them documenting the recipes. Start building that library.
Well, here I have an idea. Take every would-be chef in your kitchen, every sous chef, and say, I'm going to give everybody my grandma's blank recipe. And I want every single one of you to reinterpret that in a new way. And whoever comes up with the best dish, that's going to be the limited time offering on the menu. So what do? You get the creativity going. You take something that's old and refresh it and make it new again. And maybe you've got a star out there in those sous chef ranks that you haven't really considered yet who just brings it all to bear and is able to reinvent something. So I think that idea of the old recipe is a very smart one because I think it's too easy. We kind of pivot a little fast in this industry sometimes. So it's smart to hold on to the old and the new. And you know what? You could even plate it. Half the plate, the old, familiar standby, and then the reconstructed or deconstructed version on the other side of the plate. That could be an incredible. That could be a whole restaurant. That could be the Gemini restaurant, the two faces of a recipe.
Absolutely.
Look at that. All of our imaginations hitting today.
It is. And this is also a good way to inspire because, Mark said it's very hard. And I know as a chef, as a restaurant owner, it's very hard to get out of your door. You have to do it. We talk about it oftentimes on the show on Restaurant Reality about how you got to get out. But just what we mentioned here, you can do that internally and keep ideas fresh as people come through. Have them bring some external ideas to your place. Be open to capture them. They may not be good today. But 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, when that trend, remember we had Joe in here, and Joe had this great lamb recipe, and now lamb is in. Well, let's look at the recipe, and let's put a new twist on it, and that could be, your hot seller for that season. I mean, you've got to look at it, get inspired.
And what happens every time you treat something in a new way, your customers get inspired. And what happens when your customers get inspired? They take out this fabulous little device that's glued to their body called their smartphone. And they
talk
start
about you.
Instagramming and tweeting. And how great to have them talking about you and get that buzz out there for all the right reasons. Hey, this restaurant has just done something really courageous, really interesting, really inspiring, really fun, and best of all, really good. That's what we're all looking for.
And if you're ready to jump in that extreme pool, visit our website, please, WeSellRestaurants.com, and find the right fit for you.
Absolutely. We're online, as Eric spoke, WeSellRestaurants.com. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon. We are the Restaurant Brokers, your ultimate authority in this industry for everything happening in the business.